Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Over Fear show. Chelsea here, coming to you live, making sure it's going live. It says I am, but then it's still loading. So I think I'm live. And if you are joining me live, say hello, hang out with me. I know we're all on a screen, but I know that there's people behind the screen, so connect with me as a human. Say hello. I'm really glad that you're here. I really love doing this show, and this is something that we do for free twice a month in our free Facebook community, Moving Beyond Fear. And really what Sarah and I have done is that we've taken the most frequently asked questions, recurring themes, things that we see in the relationship anxiety community, and we pull them out and we plan these episodes very specifically to address these things. And these can be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. So the Love Over Fear show is like an educational series meets podcast. One day we'll turn it into a podcast. But it's really to help you be able to identify fear, how it's showing up in your relationship, in your life, and how to choose love over fear, how to walk in love over fear. Because we know it's possible to have love and care for your partner and feel fear at the same time. There's this message out there that says doubt means don't. If you have any sort of doubt, that means you shouldn't do whatever you're doubting. But the human experience is so much more complex than that. So this show really helps to address that complexity and the nuance of the human experience, that yes, we can feel afraid, and that doesn't mean we're doing something wrong. I'm going to say that again. We can feel afraid, we can have doubt, and that doesn't mean that what we're doing is wrong. That's very black and white thinking. So let's get into today's episode, which is called The Sneaky Ways That Fear is Keeping You Stuck. Fear is very convincing. And it's very sneaky, because if it was very obvious, hey, it's me, fear, I'm fear saying these things, we'd be able to kind of brush it aside or say, oh, okay, that's what's happening. But fear is sneaky, and that's what makes it so convincing. That's what makes it so effective. So I really want to take time today to shine a light on the very sneaky, subtle tactics of fear, so that we can say, oh, this is fear talking, and be able to choose from a place of love and courage instead of subconsciously acting from this place of fear and making the decisions in our life from fear rather than what we really desire. So let's get into it. And again, I see a couple people are with me live. Say hello. What I first want to break down is the purpose of fear and doubt, self-doubt, overthinking, second-guessing. There's a purpose to it. It's not just random. It's not here to just ruin your life. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Fear serves a very specific purpose for our survival. We can't actually get rid of fear. It's a necessary part of human biology. It's how we have evolved to the place we are today. If we had no fear, we would stick our hand on a hot stove. We would walk into a cave full of saber-toothed tigers. Fear is necessary in our survival. Now, what has happened is that we have evolved faster. We have evolved in society and in the way of life faster than our primal brain has been able to keep up. Meaning, our brain reacts to things in our life in the same way it would if we were being chased by one of these saber-toothed tigers. Now, most of us are not in situations where we're being chased by a tiger or a predator, unless you work at a zoo and you're in the lion cage. But most of us, the things that we face in our day-to-day life are not life or death. Yet, our brain still functions as if things are life or death. An example, I'm going to be real vulnerable with you this morning. I got some bullying comment on my Instagram this morning. Just fresh, first thing in the morning, someone's like, I want to bully someone. And I noticed a fear response in my body, even though I'm just reading something on my phone and I'm safe in my home. And my body still reacts as if there's a real threat. And here's the thing. Our bodies, our nervous systems don't know the difference between a thought and a real threat. It's just like when you're watching a scary movie. If you're like me, I hate scary movies. But if you're watching a scary movie and things are happening and you feel your heart racing and you're like, oh, you jump and I just scared my dog. Sorry, Adelaide. And you jump and you get scared. Even though you're on your comfy couch, you've got your popcorn, you are safe. Your body's responding to what you're seeing on the screen. Even though you're not in the movie, you're not being chased by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy. Even though you are safe physically, your body still reacts as if you're in danger because our bodies haven't learned the difference between a thought and real threat until we train it to do so. And that's really what anxiety is, and fear and self-doubt. It is like this horror film that is being projected and played and created in our mind, and our body responds as if it's really happening, as if it's real. So that's just kind of something to understand about our neurophysiology, is that our thoughts, that's why our thoughts feel so real. But the purpose of fear, the purpose of the reaction we get in our body, and the purpose of fear and self-doubt is to protect us. If your body makes this decision before you are consciously aware, your body thinks faster than you do. So there's that. If your body thinks that there is a threat, and it's not going to have it doesn't take much time for it to be like, is this real or is this a thought? It just goes because it's focused on your survival. It doesn't have time to assess. It just goes. Fear's job is to protect you from danger, from harm, from threats, and from taking risks. It doesn't want you to take risks because it believes that risk is risky, and that risk is always going to lead to harm. It's always looking out for the potential danger and threat. So it's going to cause you to doubt, which makes you go, pull back. I don't know if I want to take that risk. I don't know if I should take that risk. That's fear. I don't know if I should take that risk. What if something bad happens? And it sees any risk as a threat. Even if the risk in itself is not life or death. Even if it's not life or death. Even if taking that risk would benefit you greatly, would add to the quality of your life. And the reality is that most of life requires risk. When you walk out the door, you're taking a risk. When you get in your car, you're taking a risk. We can't move through life without risk. And so when fear is operating constantly in the brain, it's always assessing these risks and causing you to pull back. And the more risky that fear perceives a choice to be, the more doubt and anxiety it's going to throw your way. Fear likes to keep us in the familiar. It believes the familiar is safer because it doesn't know what's out there. It doesn't know what's on the other side of that risk. So it says, "Ooh, no, let's just stay here. It's safe here. We don't know what's going to happen if we do that thing. You might get hurt. It's going to be terrible. You might die. You just might die if you go on that date. You might die if you do that thing." Even though it's not life or death, our primal brain still operates as if things are life or death. So fear likes us in the familiar. Even if the familiar sucks. Because it's like, okay, I know this. We know this. We've been here. I know this. And to do anything differently or anything new or to make any change, is a risk. It's got unknown involved. And so fear is going to project the worst case scenario into the unknown. So you could be saying to yourself, like, I'm so sick of being run by my anxiety. I just want to overcome this. I'm so sick of being stuck in this place. This pattern is just wearing me down. I want to overcome this. I'm ready to change and grow. You could be like, yes, oh my gosh, let's do this. I'm done. I'm ready to change and grow. Sarah says, yes, there's comfort in the familiar, even when the familiar is uncomfortable. It's this weird paradox. The human brain's a weird thing. So you could even say, okay, I'm just so done living in anxiety, and I'm so done in being in this pattern of overthinking. I just want to be able to enjoy my relationship and live my life. I want to overcome this. I'm ready to change and grow. You can have that like come to Jesus moment. Make that declaration of like, okay, I'm so sick of this. And then comes the opportunity to actually make a change. Then comes the opportunity to actually do the thing, to step out of this safety familiarity zone, to go to the edges of your comfort zone. And what happens when that opportunity arises is that fear comes in. Fear steps in whenever we're at the edge of our comfort zone and we're like pushing ourselves, expanding a little bit. Fear comes in and might say things like this. Yeah, it's not going to work though. It's not going to work if you do therapy or do that program or try to work on it. It's not going to work for you. Yeah, you're just the exception. It's probably not worth it. You could use that money to take a vacation. It's just probably not worth it to get support. It's probably not worth it. Or like, I'll just wait. There's just a lot going on in my life right now. I'll just wait. I'll just wait to work on this. I know that I complain about it every single day. And that even if I were to take that vacation, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it because I'd be overthinking. But, I'll just wait. Or fear might say, I'm just really afraid. I'm afraid to take the risk and invest my time, money, and energy. I'm really afraid, and I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't want to do it. Or I don't have time. I just don't have time. I got a lot of stuff going on. Or fear's favorite excuse, sneaky tactic, is, what if I do this and I find out something horrible and I find out that I really do have to leave my relationship? Okay, I told you there's no beating around the bush. There's no fluff in this one. I'm just calling fear out with love for what it is. And let me know in the comments if any of these fear excuses sound familiar. And we've all done it because fear is part of us. What if I find out something horrible if I work on myself and make a change? Let me know. Have you heard these excuses in your mind? And the thing is on the surface, these seem like valid reasons. And so you believe them. I'll just work on that later. Yes, yes. So they seem so valid, and you believe them, and therefore you decide not to make the change and do what it takes to make the change. Someone said, I used to say all the time with my marriage, oh, we'll work on that when we're ready to have kids, etc. Yeah, keep pushing it off, keep pushing it off, keep pushing it off. That's a beautiful example of how just fear is I don't want to do the uncomfortable thing, so we'll just do it later. So fear has convinced you, it's given you these reasons, and then you decide not to make the change because of these reasons. Even though you're I'm so sick of this, I need to do this, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. And then the opportunity comes, and you're what? Maybe not. Someone said, yes, my relationship makes me terrified. There's a part of me that doesn't love or want to be with my partner, and I'm scared to find out that's true. Therapy's always terrified me because I'm scared to discover the unknown part of myself. Right. Fear always projects the worst case scenario into the unknown. Right? So it's like something is unknown over there. It's obviously going to be terrible. Call fear's bullshit out. Because fear has got you right where it wants you. It wants to keep you where you are, even if where you are is crushing you. Why? Because fear equates familiarity with predictability and predictability with safety. So the anxiety, the overthinking, the compulsions, it's predictable. We know it. We've done it 100,000 million bajillion times. But it's familiar. You know who you are as an anxious person. You know life as an overthinker. I told you I'm not beating around the bush. So even though you're sick of being in the same pattern and you deeply desire to just be able to just enjoy your relationship, fear believes that if you take the risk to make a change, to work on it, to schedule that therapy appointment, to sign up for that program or that course, that you're going to get hurt. That you're going to find out some terrible magical thing about yourself that just comes out of the darkness and is like, ah! Right? It makes the unknown parts of yourself scary. I've got a spoiler for you. There's nothing scary inside of you. I've met the darkest parts of myself, and there's always beauty there. But that's besides the point. Because fear is just going to try to convince you that you're the exception, and inside of you is all this scary, ugly stuff. So fear is going to throw all sorts of excuses at you to keep you where you are. The number one thing that I hear, the number one objection that people have to working on their relationship anxiety is, oh my God, what if I do this and I find out that I have to leave? Isn't that the same damn fear in your relationship? I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave. It's just hooking on to the work. It's the same thing. Don't let it trick you. It's just got a new hat on. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now it's just hooked on to working on your relationship anxiety. But what if you do that and then you have to leave? That is relationship anxiety. That is relationship anxiety. Because the fear is so familiar with the anxiety, the overthinking. It knows the compulsions. It knows how to find relief in these ways. It knows how to keep you guarded. It knows how to keep you with one foot out the door. It knows you as an anxious person. It has actually begun to create an identity around this. We can identify with our suffering. It knows how to navigate the world in some way through this lens. This lens of it knows that. It's familiar. Familiar is predictable, and predictable is safe. Woo! Damn. Damn. And for fear, the idea of letting go of that and changing is terrifying. Because there's secondary gain in overthinking, in keeping one foot out the door and not taking risks. There's secondary gain. It's perceived safety. Who would you even be without your anxiety? Who would you even be? And fear is so afraid of that answer because it doesn't know. And what does fear do? Project the worst case scenario into the unknown. Who would I even be without my anxiety? Have I created an identity around it? So fear will say, no, Don't do it. Don't work on it. Don't change. Don't grow. It's too unfamiliar. It's too unfamiliar. Therefore, it's too risky. It's too risky to step out into the unknown, step into a new way of being, a new way of showing up in your relationship. It's going to be too scary. It's going to be too hard. So, like, let's just stay where we are because we know where we are. It's safe. It's safe here. It's safe. So fear is going to give you all the excuses as to why you shouldn't step into the unfamiliar and the unknown and take the risks and take the next necessary steps to make the changes that you so desperately desire. Under all the fear is this burning desire to be free, to just be able to live your freaking life, to be able to make choices without the panic, to be able to feel confident in yourself, in your relationship, to be able to give and receive love. Isn't that the burning desire underneath all the fear? But to do the necessary work it takes to have those things takes risk. And fear says, no, we're not taking risks. It's too scary. It's too unknown. So here are some excuses as to why you shouldn't go after those things that you deeply desire. And even though fear says it's safer where you are, you're actually suffering more. You're suffering more by not working on the anxiety. Even though fear says it's worse on the other side, it's actually so much better on the other side. Right? So you're suffering more by not working on the relationship anxiety and stepping into the unfamiliarity of healing and growth. Heavy today. Isn't it more painful to stay where you are than it is to take the risk, to commit, to back yourself and say yes to yourself and your well-being? It's like a flower that's in a bud. It comes to a point where it's more painful to stay closed up in the bud than it is to just surrender and open up and grow. That's the place we have to come to, where we acknowledge that it is more painful to stay in the familiarity than it is to step forward, to take a risk, to say yes to growth, yes to love, yes to empowerment, yes to expansion, yes to yourself. This is growing and working on your relationship anxiety. We all think it's for our relationship. It's for yourself because you're the one suffering. And fear makes you believe it will hurt more if you work on it and get support. But really, it's hurting you more to stay where you are. It's wearing down your body mind. And I know this because I've been there. It wears down your body mind. It keeps you from fully participating in your life. Your time, energy, attention is just consumed by the thoughts, by the obsessions, by the fear. It hurts more. It hurts more to stay where you are. And I say that from embodied experience. There is a me before and a me after I worked on my relationship anxiety. And I definitely prefer the me after. Because here I am. Here I am. I made it out alive. I'm okay. I worked on my relationship anxiety and I'm okay. I'm more than okay. I'm vibrant. I'm powerful. I'm confident. I take risks. I am more me. I'm more me. When we're in relationship anxiety, we don't feel like ourselves. We have become identified with fear and we think that that's who we are. That's not who you are. That's not who you are. And fear is terrified of you finally stepping into your power because you won't need the overthinking anymore. You won't need to constantly question and doubt yourself. And it really likes hanging out with you. It's not ready for you to retire it. Anyone feeling me out there? Like, this is powerful stuff channeling through me, and it's just so important for us to shine a light on fear and say, holy shit, I have been duped by fear. It's got me. With love, right? To say that with love and be like, oh, okay, yep, know it, now it's time to do something about it. Because fear, it makes you believe that you have to have certainty of what's on the other side. It makes you believe you have to have certainty that it's actually ROCD in order to actually do anything about it. And what does that do? As you're searching for certainty that it's really ROCD or else I can't work on it, what does that do? It keeps you in inaction. If you believe I have to be sure that this is ROCD before I do anything, then you're not going to do anything. Fear gotcha. Fear gotcha. It keeps you in inaction. It keeps you in compulsions, compulsively seeking certainty before you actually do anything that's going to break you free from the desperate need of certainty. That's a quote. Oh my God, what did I just say? That's got to become a quote. That was really good. Good. Oh yes, source channeling through me. It keeps you desperately seeking certainty so that you don't actually break free from the desperate and urgent need for certainty. It keeps you from putting both feet in your life. Energy. Woo! I feel my fire. Ooh, I feel my fire. Yes, 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 yes. So you've got to release the need for certainty and be able to say, I can't be 100% sure of what's on the other side. I can't be 100% sure that this is ROCD. There's no blood tests you can take that would confirm that you have ROCD. ROCD is just describing a cluster of symptoms. That's what diagnoses are. It describes a cluster of symptoms. So take it or leave it if you want the label or not. It's just describing a cluster of symptoms. Do you overthink? Do you have an inability to trust in your relationship? Do you have a hard time being present? Do you doubt yourself? Do you seek control? Then honey, that's the cluster of symptoms we're fucking talking about. Let go of the label if it's stopping you. We have to be able to say, I can't be 100% sure, but I'm going to take the risks and get support with what I am going through. I'm suffering. I'm suffering. I'm in the torment of my mind. We have to be able to call fear's bullshit with love and understanding. And say, oh, fear, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I know you're scared. Oh, I know you're scared of the unknown. I know you're just trying to protect me. Thank you. And guess what? We need this. Even though it's an unknown, we need it. Thank you for doing your job. And I want you to know that I've got you. And that I'm actually the one that makes decisions in my life. I'm actually the one that's going to lead the way this time. How do you feel about working together on this? Call fear out with love and understanding and compassion. And whatever you do, don't wait for fear to be absent in order to make a change. Because change in itself is risk. And where there is risk, there is fear. That's just fear's evolutionary job. It doesn't have some deeper meaning. That's fear's evolutionary and biological job, is to alert us in the face of risk. Even though this risk, getting support, is not going to kill you, fear believes that everything is life or death. Once we understand that, we can say, oh, okay, this is what's happening. We have to be aware of how fear manifests. It doesn't just cause you to doubt your relationship, to doubt your decisions, or if you really have ROCD, it will actually cause you to doubt healing itself. That's how fear manifests. That's how fear manifests. We're shining a light on it. And that is actually the first fear you have to face in order to make a change. Face the fear of stepping into the unknown of healing, of getting support, of working through this. You have to be able to take that risk, that first step of saying yes. Yes to getting support. Yes to working on this. Yes to doing the inner work. You have to jump over that first hurdle before you can get to the other stuff. Because that fear of doing the work is the same fear in your relationship anxiety, just manifesting in a new way to keep you from inaction, to keep you in the familiarity. We see it's becoming clear now what's really going on when we choose not to take risks, when we choose not to step into the unknown. It's just fear doing its job. And when we can kind of pull back, step back from it, we can say, I see what's happening, and now that I know what's happening, I can make a different choice, instead of it just happening subconsciously and dictating my behavior. Because it's all the same. It's just fear. It's all the fear in your relationship and the fear of actually doing the work. It's all the same. It's fear. It's indecisiveness. It's lack of trust in yourself and in others. It's the same cycle driving the fear and the excuses. We see how it's the same. If you're indecisive about getting support, isn't that reflective of the indecisiveness in your relationship? I told you, I warned you. I'm not beating around the bush. I warned you. So, if you're feeling #attacked, that's a good thing. We're shining a light on our shadow side, on our painful parts that we don't want to look at or acknowledge. It's uncomfortable. So take a breath. We'll take a breath. So become aware of the ways that fear is keeping you right where you are, which is right where it wants you, because it's familiar. We know this place. Become familiar and aware of the ways that fear is keeping you right where you are. How it's keeping you in the suffering, even though you complain about it every day. Even though it's taking up so much of your time and your energy. Become aware with compassion and non-judgment of how fear is keeping you in that place. And then, here's what we have to do next. Here's how we take back our power. Here's how we move beyond fear. What? Oh, she dropped the name of the Facebook group. That's what this is all about. What? Oh! Here's how we move beyond fear and take back our power, our agency, our choice. We make the conscious decision that you want to walk in empowerment and live in freedom, and that you will do what it takes to get the reins of your life back. You have to make that decision. It's a conscious decision. Think of it as this sacred commitment to yourself. And when the opportunity comes to do that, to make the change, you must take it. No, Chelsea, I thought there was an easier way out. No, When the opportunity comes to make the change, you must take it because you've made that conscious decision. And you are now aligning your actions with your desires. You are becoming congruent in your mind, in your words. Your actions are becoming congruent with your desires. That's where power lives. You take the opportunity, you step in, no matter how unfamiliar. Because you've made an agreement with your higher self. I'm no longer going to stay stuck in the suffering needlessly. I love myself too much to keep suffering. I'm going to choose myself. I'm going to choose myself and my freedom, no matter how scary or unfamiliar it feels. This is what courage looks like. This is courage. Doing the brave thing in spite of the fear. I've made a decision, a commitment, a covenant with myself, with my inner child, that I will no longer let her suffer needlessly. I will no longer let my life be taken over by fear. Do we feel the energy of that? The shift from powerlessness and helplessness to a fuck yes? That's the energy we got to step into. A fuck yes. Let's do this. I'm no longer going to let my inner child suffer needlessly. I'm going to step into my power and make my decisions from that place. From that place. From the place of power, not the place of fear. So that's the first step. To overcome the fear of doing the work before you can overcome the fears in your relationship. Or else you're just going to spend all your time online Googling forever and ever and ever on how to get over these fears, but never actually doing the things that it takes to get over them. We see how the cycle is self-feeding. I'll tell you how to get over these fears. Take the first step. Just take one step, one decision. Your freedom is one decision away. Make that commitment to yourself. And fear hates commitment. Like, hello, ROCD, like an anxiety, fear of commitment. Fear hates commitment. So in making the commitment to yourself to get support, you, in that step, in that first step, you have already broken the pattern. That first step is the first step to breaking the pattern. Making a commitment is the first step in your fear of commitment. We see the light hath shineth upon us. This is the first step in breaking the pattern. It's making this commitment to yourself out of love. Out of love. A commitment to loving yourself enough to no longer allow yourself to suffer needlessly. When there is help, there is support. There are people who are here to love you and encourage you and help you through this. Make a commitment to yourself out of love to no longer let yourself suffer when there is a possibility of moving forward. There is another side. I wouldn't be having Healing Embodied if there wasn't another side. That's why I'm so passionate about what I do, is because I remember the suffering. It fucking sucked. And I know that it doesn't always have to be that way forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I know that there is freedom, there is empowerment, there is choice, there is love. To embrace the unknown, embrace the risk. Say yes to yourself, yes to love, no matter how scary. That has been the recurring theme of my life is the unknown, risk, trusting in the unknown, doing things that scare the shit out of me because I know I have to do them to have what I desire for myself and for my life. I've gotten real comfortable with discomfort. That has been the recurring theme of my life. So I say this from an integrated and embodied place. Because I've done it and I keep doing it. I keep doing it. I keep seeing all the ways that fear makes excuses for me to stay in the familiarity, even though what I really want is on the other side of the familiarity, and that I might have to take some risks or make some choices that are new and unfamiliar and different from what I've always known and believed in. Oh my God! That's the name of my game. That is what I have come to this planet to learn over and over and over. If I have one lesson, it's that. So I'm continually refining and mastering that within myself. So I say this from a place of inner knowing, that I know that this is the path to face the fears, to do the things that scare you, even if they're unfamiliar. Because if what you want is freedom and the ability to actually give and receive love, and you have all this fear and doubt and overthinking, then you've got to do what it takes to actually work through those doubts, the overthinking, understand why you overthink everything, why you need to keep one foot out the door, why do you fear commitment so much, why do you fear intimacy and vulnerability. That's the work we have to explore within ourselves to be able to love without all the inhibitions. So let's shine a light on the fear when it pulls up and convinces you with all the excuses as to why you shouldn't work on your anxiety. It wants you to stay in the familiar. And today we say no more. Set that boundary. This is actually a boundary. We can set boundaries with ourselves, boundaries with different parts of ourselves. We can set that boundary. And that's where we take back our power and say, fear, I know you are just trying to help me. I know you're really afraid, but today I set that boundary. And I say, today I'm actually going to make the choice. Let's just try that. Because you deserve to be out of the constant, it's exhausting. You deserve to be able to live your life fully without fear constantly being in control. To be able to embody your fullest expression of yourself. To be able to make choices without fearing that you're going to die if you make the wrong one. To be able to flow with life instead of fear it. For life to feel like an adventure instead of a horror film. Anxiety wants to keep you small and safe in the little box and never take any risks. You got to take that first step. You got to take that first step, whatever that looks like for you. Because we're all in different parts of this journey, so your first step might look different than someone else's step. You got to take that first step. And I'm empowering you today to do that. If there's a course you've been wanting to take, someone you've been wanting to work with, work you know you need to do it. Do it out of love for yourself and saying no more to being stuck in the suffering needlessly. And if you're feeling aligned and called and inspired and connected by the work that we do in Healing Embodied, then I want to invite you to join me. Join me in our live group program, the Luscious Love Immersion. It is is a kick-ass program. I'm so proud of it. I really am so proud of it and the work that we do in there. So if you're wanting that support, if you want to be led by desire and empowerment and you're like, fuck it, let's do this, come work with us. Let us support you and cheer you on and empower you and love you and guide you and hold space for you. Come hang out with us. Come work with us. Come move with us. I promise you that there's no scary thing that you're going to find out. You will only come more into the fullest version of yourself, more into your power, into self-trust, being able to feel empowered in the face of uncertainty. That's what we do. That's what we're about. So I have included the link to that program. It's an 8-week program. Me and Sarah run it together. It's so powerful. You can check it out, see all the details, and you can either sign up right there or you can apply for a free relationship anxiety assessment where you will meet with a member of the Healing Embodied team to answer your questions and to assess that this is the best next step for you and to really confirm that this is the way to go for you. So you can click that link, take that step, take the first step to face your fears of doing the work, whatever that looks like for you, and know that we are here for you on the other side of your fear. We're here for you to empower you, to support you, to let you know that you're not alone, and to let you know that there's hope and that things can be different. They can be different. They can. All right. Sending you all the love, the power, the strength, the self-trust. And until next time, I can't wait to see you embrace yourself, embrace your healing, and embrace love wholeheartedly.